Good morning. My name is Drew McApagle. Around the world, sports bring people together through its competitive spirit and its ability to allow those of all backgrounds to showcase their talents. We watch sports through a variety of outlets such as TV, radio, and media. Those sports are the key to bringing us together. There are many social issues that come with it, especially when it comes to gender. This leads to the research question: to what extent does the portrayal of women's sports in the media impact gender inequality? Women's portrayal in the media contributes to increased gender inequality by underrepresenting female athletes, underpaying female athletes, and by creating unobtainable body standards. In an article written by the Sport Journal, it was found that 1.4% of SportsCenter's coverage was on women's sports. As seen by the graph, less than 2% of all of the coverage was of women's sports. This statistic leads to the next point, that women are paid significantly less than men. The United Nations Women Organization reveals that in the workplace around the world, women earn on average 77% of, of men's salaries. As seen by this image, the United States men's team was paid $8 million for losing the first round of the World Cup. On the other hand, the U.S. women's team only got paid $2 million and they won the entire tournament. Another example can be found in the basketball industry. The highest paid NBA player gets paid $43 million per year, whereas the highest paid female athlete gets paid $221,000 per year. The disparities reveal the correlation between media coverage and the salaries of women athletes. Next, it can be revealed how women's media coverage creates an environment of unobtainable body standards. As seen by the screen, 66% of women believe media influences body image. Furthermore, it can be argued that the coverage of women athletes in the media is overly sexualized. This picture was taken after soccer player Brandy Chastain won the game-winning penalty kick in the 1999 World Cup. After this win, the media only covered her celebration rather than her achievements on the field. This shows that the media overly sexualized the female athlete because of her celebration in ways that they do not do to men. Another way that the media portrayal of women's sports increases inequality is by damaging their body image. In a study conducted by the National Eating Disorder Association, it was found that among Division I female athletes, 1/3 of them showed signs and symptoms of anorexia. Although men may experience some levels of eating disorders, the rate at which it occurs is not comparable. This is even more evidence of the challenges that women athletes experience that are not present in men. This also relates back to the previous claim of how the portrayal of women athletes creates an environment of unobtainable body standards, which ultimately advances gender inequalities. Though there are many disparities between women and men athletes, there are several advancements being made in order to eliminate these inequalities. For example, the FIFA organization has created the FIFA Plan for Women's Football or Soccer. This plan consists of goals such as increasing women's board members and increasing women's soccer exposure. Also, they hope to have 60 million people involved in the FIFA organization. Next, the Chasing Equity Project of the WNBA focuses on education and awareness of inequalities in high school sports. According to the National Federation of State High School Association, girls in high school sports is at an all-time high with over 3 million opportunities for girls to compete. With this, there are still inequalities that exist in men and women's portrayal of sports. The media's coverage of women's sports increases gender inequality by underrepresenting female athletes, underpaying female athletes, and creating an environment of unobtainable body standards. Though there are some advancements made to eliminate these inequalities, there is still a lot of work to be done. Thank you.
All right, I have two questions for you. First question, what evidence did you gather that you didn't use, and why'd you choose not to use it?
So there's some evidence in my IWA that I found. For example, there was I'm trying to think. Um, um, oh yeah, the one in this presentation of the female athlete that won the World Cup, and then the media only covered her celebration. I decided to use that instead of in my IWA. There's evidence of another female a tennis player that receives a lot of media coverage, but only because of her looks, and she never actually won any major championships. She was only covered because of like her appearance, but I thought that the soccer player could provide like a better story that could further my claim.
All right. And what advice would you have for other researchers who consider this topic in the future?
Um, I'll make sure to like find there's a good amount of statistics that can be found. So, for example, the one who was 60% of female athletes believe that the media influences their body image. So, if you research, you should try to find sources where you can find statistics, because I believe that when people hear the statistic, they get a better idea and understanding of what's happening.